Travel back in time to the 80s. Reliving the music.
You can't have the Pretenders' first album. That's mine.
I bought it.
You did not. The catchphrases.
Did you have a brain tumor for breakfast?
And the wannabes.
Sometimes I see me dance around the house in my underwear. Doesn't make me Madonna. Never will.
Because just like you, we're stuck in the 80s.
Can you say stuck in the 80s?
Hey, welcome to Stuck in the 80s, special 80s in the Sand, live from Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. It's your old pal Spearsy here. And Brown LA is still in LA, so with me today as our special co-host, our friend Brian Abrams would like to call him Curtis Wayne de Lactose Intolerant. But for the purposes of today, we're going to call him C-Rad. Say hello to Curtis.
Hello, everybody.
So Curtis and I are here at the Breathless Resort in Punta Cana. This is 80s in the Sand week, and if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you probably are well aware of the event. It is 1 week at an all-inclusive resort, and we have bands such as Starship, Howard Jones, Tom Bailey, Berlin, you name it, they're all here. It's an amazing night, and we are now talking to you Monday afternoon, late Monday afternoon. And we'll try to give you a couple of these dispatch podcasts before the week's over. So let us catch you up to date. So we flew into Punta Cana, which is a resort area of the Dominican Republic. It's just all-inclusive. That's all there is pretty much down here. And Curtis and I flew down separately. He flew down from Atlanta, and I flew down from Fort Lauderdale on Saturday. So you got here before me. What was your first impression when you saw the resort?
It was impressive. I mean, I guess the first thing I noticed was how hot it was when we got off the bus. It was very humid.
Yeah, we were checking the forecast down here the weeks leading up to this trip, and everybody was kind of reacting to the fact that it was raining every day. Well, it's the Caribbean; it rains every day, but not for very long. And it's rained here a couple of times since we've been here, but maybe for like a half hour?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah, just like a sprinkling. But it was 90, I think it was 90 degrees when we landed. And I'm like, 90 degrees, that's no problem. I live in Florida. But it's a very humid 90 degrees. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, Curtis, but I was sweating my ass off for the first 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was brutal. But it's an all-inclusive, so all your alcohol's included. So they were nice enough. They put us in, we're in rooms right next to each other in one of the first buildings. And it's an all-inclusive. So you go downstairs, you order whatever you want. It's free. And we kind of said we were going to be semi-responsible. So we've been drinking mainly beer. And there's only one beer here. It's El Presidente.
Right. I mean, they do stock some beer in the refrigerators, but it's a variety of, like, for instance, I have a Dos Equis right now. But they've been putting Coors Light and a couple of Presidentes in there as well. But they're actually the smaller cans. They're like maybe 10 ounces or something.
Right. Not great for recycling.
Right.
So the first night rolls around. So by the time I get here, it's already dark. So I haven't even at this point, I hadn't seen the resort in the daylight. And it's a big resort. I mean, it takes wandering around for a little while before you get used to it. So we grab a bite to eat and we go down to everything here revolves around the pool. And there's 2 gigantic pools, or maybe more. In fact, I think there's one behind my room right here.
Right.
So we get down there, and they're playing. The first night, they're showing a movie, like I think it was around 8 o'clock, and it's Can't Buy Me Love, and everyone's like transfixed because, great movie. It's an unusual pick to start the week with, but everyone was kind of into it. The nice thing, though, is we're standing there, and I got a late start, but I'm still sticking to the El Presidente. Plus, they have no wild turkey here, so that's neither here nor there. Apparently, nobody warned them about that. But the beer, the beer lady comes up to us like every 5 minutes with a whole tray of beers, and she's like, "Here, drink more."
Right.
That first night, how many beers do you think we had that first night?
I must have had at least 20.
At least 20. It was ridiculous.
And it took that many to get a buzz, it seemed like, because we were, I don't know if it was watered down or if it was just because the cups were so small.
Yeah. It's like back in college when they have like nickel beer day and they give you the small cups. That's kind of what it was. But it doesn't matter because I mean, I was just, and I was so dehydrated to begin with that I needed the beer. So that ends, and they had they called it black foam party. It wasn't black foam, but that's what they called it.
It was
black light foam party.
Right.
So they start shooting off these foam guns into the pool, and there's this video DJ named, I'm pretty sure his name is Stephen Wayne, and he's up there on this. They got the gigantic screen, and he's playing songs along with their videos. And it was amazing. I mean, they're hitting all the great tunes, all the great videos, all the different genres. The pool's filling up with suds. Curtis and I are sitting there. We're filled up with suds. People around. We
different
were probably,
suds.
Yeah, but you got to think we were probably the two most sober people that night, right?
I would venture to say yes.
It was great though because so many people were coming up to us and telling us how much they love the podcast and how much they were looking forward to trivia. So that was fun. It was a good night. And so day 2 rolls around, and like I said, everything here kind of revolves around the pool. So we headed down and there's pool bar and there's swim up pool bars everywhere.
Yeah, the bar stools are actually underwater. You sit on them underwater. And
we sat on them for quite some time.
Yeah.
Because not only were they in the pool, because otherwise you just melt. I mean, it's ridiculously hot. And so we were in the pool, sitting on the pool, and just drinking, Presidente after Presidente after Presidente all afternoon. And day 1 or day 2 ends with the first concert of the week, and it's Starship leading things off. They did a great job, and they were introduced by Alan Hunter.
Yeah.
Did you see that he was right by the stage later on during the performance? You were standing right next to him.
Right, and I saw you posted something on Facebook about it.
Yeah, he was like right up front, clapping along like a madman, waving his arms. I mean, he was into it. Mm-hmm. And so 3/4 of the way through the set, we'd heard talk that there was a surprise guest here this week, but they wouldn't say who it was. Turns out it's Wally Palmer, the lead singer of the Romantics. And he takes the stage, and they play Talking in Your Sleep, and then they start playing What I Like About You. And you were like maybe 10 yards in front of me at this point. You were taking photos and stuff. These 3 girls came up and stood right in front of me. They're all like 5'2", and they started jumping and like doing karate and swinging their fists and stuff. I mean, I'm sitting there going, I'm going to have a black eye tomorrow for trivia. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, can I get away with wearing sunglasses for trivia? I probably could, because it'd be better than having to explain that some girl karate chopped me in the eye. But that's the way things were going. And so they finished up their set, and then I passed out. I mean, just fatigue because I wasn't drinking last night. But you were awake for Information Society. So what happened during that show?
Well, they played for about, I guess, an hour and 15 minutes, and they did several of their obscure songs. I believe most of them were off their first album. Kurt Wernstein, a gentleman that I met here. He's a big Information Society fan, and he recognized, most all the songs. But Information Society, they're one of those bands that even if you don't know the song, that you think, wow, this is pretty good. You know?
Yeah, sure.
And they played towards the end. They played "Walking Away," and they played their big hit. What is it?
What's on Your Mind?
Yeah, What's on Your Mind, and then the next to the last song was "Think."
Such a classic.
Yeah, and I believe "Think" may have actually come out in 1990, but we consider it an 80s song.
Oh, you know what was really crazy too? There was a guy that's here who looks just like Tom Cruise. I mean, everything about him. And last night he was dressed up as Tom Cruise in Cocktail. And he was kind of like sneaking up on people and freaking them out because they would turn around and it's like fucking Tom Cruise is standing right next to me,
Right.
and people were doing all these photo ops and stuff like that. I mean, it was just a fun night. I mean, it's you know, it's general admission to these shows. You're standing up there against the stage, and you know the sound's great and it's loud, and you know you're just having a good time. But so we recovered and we got ready today, and we did the first session of Big 80s Trivia. And we did that this afternoon. We ended up doing 2 sessions because there was some confusion about the schedule. Some people thought it was supposed to be at 2, and some people thought it was supposed to be at 3. So no problem. The only question that people were kind of thrown by, and B-Rad back in LA should be ashamed for writing this question, was the question of the 1983 movie Never Say Never Again was a remake of which James Bond film? And I think in the 2 sessions we did, only one person got it right. Mm-hmm. And the answer is Thunderball. So people whiffed on that. I don't think there was another question where nobody got it right. I think that was the only one that we really stumped people on.
Right.
We had the question, every Bartles and James wine cooler commercial ends with the same phrase. What's that phrase? And I was surprised more people didn't get that right. It's thank you for your support. So I'll be curious to see how... We have another trivia session on Tuesday, and then one by the pool on Wednesday. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm scared shitless about that one because I mean, the pool is where everybody is. I mean, nobody wants to like step away from the pool because that's where all the fun is, and it's gigantic, and they're just like it's just endless booze. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I hope they don't kill us. In other words, mm-hmm. So we'll check in later this week. In the meantime, look for some updates. I'm trying to post some photos and such on Facebook on the group page, or if you follow me, feel free to follow me on Facebook too. We'll do that. C-Rad will be here making sure everything's above board. We'll have some interesting tales to tell next time. I guarantee you we're saving one of the best ones for later. But in the meantime, C-Rad and myself remain here, hopelessly stuck in the sand.